Hello, welcome back. My name is Mary, and this is how I'm documenting my No-Buy 2019. The purpose of this video is to go over my June favorites. So if that sounds interesting to you, I hope you consider sticking around. Timestamps below, and I will try to keep it focused on luxury beauty, which is really what most of you are expecting when you visit my channel. However, I can't talk about my June favorites without mentioning a couple of unexpected favorites. Number one, I have a grand nephew. June was really a off to a rocky start. This little guy was actually born 8 weeks early. He was due on right around the end of June, right about now, but he came into the world via an emergency C-section on May 16th, which is my mother's birthday. He was in the NICU for about 5 or 6 weeks. I will insert some pictures of him, and I feel that the pictures do a fairly good job of illustrating why June was such an emotional roller coaster. Now, babies in the NICU are really struggling for life, sort of preoccupied by some of those out of my control situations that took the steam out of any kind of social media posting. So I do apologize for the lack of uploads in the interim, but I was just too distracted by too many things. I do have some notes down here. I will attempt to stay focused, but really the theme of June is gratitude. I will put some timestamps below, so if you're only interested in the makeup items, I will probably not talk about them until they end, and you'll be able to click on those hyperlinked time stamps in the description box below if you're only interested in certain content. The other thing I've been struggling with in June is I have an aging dog, and while he had a wonderful day today, I will again insert some footage of him playing at the dog park. While I was in Charleston last week, I don't know if it was stressed or if he's just generally going downhill as he ages, but he had some digestion issues, and we're starting to see that as a pattern. He is 11 going on 12 years old. He is a larger breed, and I just have to start. I can't shove the thought out of my mind. The thought of him aging or having some kind of health crisis does kind of impact my summer and how I'm looking at the next 6 to 8 weeks before I return to teaching in the fall. So I need to weigh all those things. There's been quite a bit on my mind, and I just want to share this footage because he is one of my June favorites, and the fact that he keeps bouncing back, I'm truly, truly, truly grateful for. I had a couple unexpected gifts, and 3 unexpected gifts that I'd like to talk about from June. One of them is a beauty item. This is the lipstick that I'm wearing today. It is the Revlon 16-hour liquid lipstick, and it's the type with the liquid lipstick on one side and a clear top coat on the other. This frankly reminds me of a Chanel product that I've been very interested in trying. I will say I'm thrilled with this liquid lipstick. Essentially, all right, I do want to give you a close-up of my lips. It was gifted to me by a wonderful teacher who teaches English at a neighboring high school, and we worked together on a technology grant where this was on a district level. We were given grant money to purchase technology for our classrooms, building curriculum to integrate technology in a relevant way in the core classroom. I was so touched by this thoughtful gift, including this little notepad with a magnetic closure, which I keep in my bag for jotting down, well, anything from to-do lists, but more relevantly, thoughts that I want to capture. This, if you will, is my pensieve, if you catch that Harry Potter allusion. Very moved by Dahlia's generosity, and truly it was a wonderful experience collaborating with her over the year. Also, I would like to just talk a little bit about the amazing thing that I saw as I looked outside my front window. I will insert some footage. Basically, a doe was laying down in my front yard like a dog, and at one point she stood up as though she had heard something, and you'll see her two fawns come over and just about knock her over with their vigorous feeding. So I love the wildlife that we're exposed to here in North Carolina, oftentimes in our front yard. And I am very grateful for that, although I also understand that we need to be aware of tick-borne illnesses with that close interaction with nature. We are on to beauty items. I have a small stash of beauty items to share with you. Most of them are related to my trip to Charleston last week. Number one is a little Diptyque candle that I purchased last year during the Nordstrom anniversary sale. It was part of a set. I love it. This is the Baies flavor, which is bouquet of roses and blackcurrant leaves. A little bit floral. It is probably my favorite Diptyque scent. Floral, but it has that sense of muskiness that you get redolent of Charleston. As you walk off the main street in Charleston, it looks like you're walking through either the Latin Quarter in New Orleans or certain parts of Boston or certain parts of Rome, where it is bricks and alleyways and wrought iron double-decker balconies and little nooks and crannies that have been turned into magical garden spaces. That sense of Charleston, that sense of old, wet, mossy, shaded streets in older towns. That's why I decided to pull out my Diptyque candle. Also traveling, I packed very light. This is a product that I have fallen back in love with. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Face in a Palette in the color Glow Palette. I'm wearing it today, the blush on my cheeks and the eye products on my eye. I absolutely love this product. It has everything you need for traveling light. Oh, also in Charleston, I had to make an emergency purchase. I forgot all of my sunscreen, and it was hot and the sun was out for the full week. Rather than purchasing a chemical sunscreen from the Publix that was a block from my hotel, I really am not interested in chemical sunscreens. So I did pick up the Supergoop. This is a tinted SPF 40. I do not prefer it to the Australian Gold, although it's very similar. It works into the skin quite well. It just has a slicker, more powdery, silicone-y feel, and I prefer the Australian Gold, certainly because of the price point. So this was a disappointing expense. Really, there are just two more things in my beauty faves for June. One is an activated charcoal toothpaste. I've always been a traditionalist when it comes to toothpaste. I struggle with stained teeth because I've been a coffee junkie forever, and I spent junior high and high school. I spent 7 years in Italy, and just the water was not fluorinated, and I developed a distaste for dentists while I was there. I have a cap on my front tooth, so I've always struggled with keeping my smile as white as it should be. This helps. This is an off-brand. I had purchased this when I ran out of my regular toothpaste just at the grocery store, and I enjoy it. I am using it religiously, and I feel it does a fairly good job of brightening my smile. Another thing I traveled with, this is a concealer that I sort of use periodically when I get bored with the stick Clé de Peau, but it does a fairly good job brightening. It does a good job as a lid primer on my lids, and I just decided to pull this out since I was traveling and did not want to melt my Clé de Peau stick concealer if I had to leave my luggage unattended in the heat. Final thing in my beauty favorites for June is the Neutrogena Face Oil Control Face Wash. And this is a product that I use not on my face, but to really help me keep my beauty blender clean. So I did not travel with this, but I did feel that it was worth mentioning to you all as an alternative for cleaning beauty blenders. It has some salicylic acid, so I feel that it does do a slightly better job than my glycerin bar soap at keeping my sponge clean. I generally rub it on my glycerin soap and onto a textured rubber mat to knock out the foundation itself, and then I put a dollop of this in my hand and rub it into the sponge and rinse it real well to give it that antibacterial wash. Favorite for last, but I was absolutely blown away after I returned from Charleston. I was feeling the stress returning home to a sick dog, and I basically was exhausted and ended up napping with him on the couch for 3 or 4 hours. I woke up incredibly disoriented, and when I checked my iPad, one of the messages that had popped up during my snooze was from Jill E. Christ, and it was a notice from her that I had won her giveaway. I was disoriented. I did not remember joining a giveaway, but apparently at the end of one of her recent videos, she has a favorite version of oil cleanser that she loves to use. And at the end of her video, she mentioned that she had purchased a spare bottle and that she was giving one away to a viewer. And I remember commenting on her video, but I often comment on her videos. I really enjoy her content. She is so articulate and generous, and she is one of my top 3 luxury beauty channels, and the kind of products that she is intrigued by are absolutely speak to me without fail. So I was really stunned and thrilled, but I have won my first YouTube. I have won something. It's kind of astonishing. I consider myself a very lucky person when it comes to making connections with people when I need people connections, but not traditionally lucky in terms of winning things. I never play the lottery or waste my money on things like that. So I am just completely overjoyed to have been selected to have won that giveaway. Thank you so much, Jill. I am just speechless. Overall, although June was like snorkeling in the Keys in heavy surf. I don't know if you've ever done something that crazy, but the one and only time I've ever been snorkeling, I thought I was going to die because the seas were like 6-7 feet. However, my husband jumped in, so I followed. The thing with tumultuous months is that you just have to trust that you will have enough moments of joy. Once you get underneath that surface chop, really the world underneath is so remarkable. And I feel that that is the perfect metaphor for my June. The surface was choppy. The surface was very dangerous and heart-wrenching at times, but once I went under the surface and found my center with the relationships in my life and some of the unexpected joys, and just being lucky enough to have the health scares that my family has encountered in the recent past work themselves out, I feel so profoundly grateful, and that is why the theme of June is gratitude. But thank you so much for bearing with me. I hope that your month I hope that your months, as they toss you about, I hope you also have the experience of being able to go under the surface and find your center and find your joy. I certainly am going to try to keep my eye on that as the rest of 2019 unfolds. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do leave a comment if you're inspired to do so. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're interested in this kind of content, please do hit like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Ciao.